Well, hello, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I've got a question for you guys. Would you guys pay more attention to me if you saw me dressed like this on a regular? Is this how the Joe Boo Sports should look? Giving you more of a professional look, more polished edge, clean cut face, tie, shirt. Heck, I could even put on the jacket. Does that give me more credibility with you than when I look like a bum? That's the question I have to ask. And so when I say this, I'm curious as to how you feel about what I'm about to say to you because I'm dressed differently. Most of you are probably like in awe that you're like, what? He cleans up pretty good. Yeah. I shaved, I edged this up a little bit, cut down some of this stuff. So it looks at least a little bit better. Okay. You can make shit shine. Yeah, it's true. You literally can make shit shine. Anyway, I was talking to my dad, and last night with Bet US, we ended up betting the over, which was great because the over was reached almost at the first half. But we also bet on Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win. We got 1.5 points. Unfortunately, that holding call and that face mask was the difference in that game. And so we was parade rest. And so my dad, he calls me to start talking about the games and everything so we can start getting our bets and stuff together. And the interesting thing that we had in the conversation with each other was we both believe that the Dallas Cowboys will win this weekend. Now, we haven't been doing great with our bets. I mean, we're basically even, okay? We haven't won any money. We haven't really lost any money. But here's my take on this one. And this may be a blessing in disguise, okay? I want you to understand, think back to when Micah Parsons was a rookie. When we drafted Micah Parsons was drafted to be a linebacker. And because of necessity, necessity makes you change what you're doing to try and find a different path to achieve your goals. Sometimes we're stuck doing the same thing because that's all we know. And we say that's been working for us until something happens and you got to find another way. For example, you may drive your car every day to work, but then your car dies and you don't have another way. You have to find another way to get to your job so you can make some money to buy another car. So it may be that I got to call Uber, or maybe I got to, Tom and Jerry, hitchhike, or maybe it's I'm taking the bus, or maybe I have to ride my bike. But because there is something different, you have to get a different result. And this is where we may be with the Cowboys. Because, people are like, oh, doom and gloom with the Dallas Cowboys defense. Well, let's make it clear here. The Dallas Cowboys defense has had a hard way to go when it comes to stopping the run. And part of that is because the Cowboys are meant to be a team that has the lead. And when you have a player like Micah Parsons as a defensive end, his speed is incredible. He can maneuver around, but the problem with Micah Parsons is he's a little light in the ass. And when you run the football at him or you run a lot, Micah Parsons is basically taken out of the game. So hear me out here, that the Cowboys are now facing a lot of teams that are very run heavy, right? People are, oh my God. Now losing D-Law, that hurts, I think, more because of the teams that we're facing coming up. The Steelers are more of a run team than they are a passing team. That's not to say Justin Fields didn't throw for over 300 yards, although some of that may have been garbage time last week. If the Steelers are relying on Justin Fields' arm, then they're going to lose. That's not their game. Their game is being able to control the clock and run the football. And here's the thing. We had the sighting of Mozzie Smith last week, actually the last 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks, Mozzie, no go. No big plays, no plays. The last 2 weeks, he has caught up to Jordan Davis in tackles and assists. The only thing Jordan Davis has on right now is 1 sack. But you saw that tackle for loss. You saw him with, 3 solo tackles and things, and being a disruptor, which is what the Cowboys need. If Mozzie can repeat that kind of performance, and here's where this is possible, because right now the Steelers' offensive line is beat up. They're not great on the offensive line. And see, this is one of those things that they don't tell you on the shows and things. If you watched ESPN this morning, everybody's picking the Steelers, which is probably one of the main reasons why I believe that the Cowboys will win. Pay attention here for a second, because to me, I want you to think about this for a second. Think about this. ESPN is now part of the betting formula. They have ESPN Bet or whatever it's called, which I think is a conflict of interest. So last week you saw everybody say, the Cowboys, I'm sorry, not the Cowboys, excuse me, against New Orleans. You saw everybody say, New Orleans, New Orleans, New Orleans, New Orleans. I'm sorry, not New Orleans. Cowboys over Baltimore. And every time everybody picks the Cowboys, they always lose. They always lose. And I want to say everybody picked the Eagles the last 2 weeks to win as well. Subconsciously, when you hear enough people say the Cowboys have no chance, chances are you may bet on the other guys to win. Now, everybody on there is saying, oh, the Cowboys, they got no chance. But here's the thing. So we know that the Steelers' offensive line is nicked up. I believe their running backs are a little bit nicked up as well. So if they're a running team, that kind of negates us being nicked up on the defensive line and understanding that Micah Parsons isn't particularly a great run stopper. Now, the other part of the equation here, when listening to Jerry Jones in his press conference, of course, where he's telling you to, when you leave the lights on and nobody's in the room, that basically the lights are on for the flies and the mice. So you might as well turn the lights off to save energy. I still don't know what that means. But what he also said, too, is the Cowboys are now becoming a charity organization for NFL players to get an opportunity. So he says a lot of players don't get opportunities, and that's why they've never been great players. And so now he's saying he's giving those guys, he's excited about seeing those guys out there with a chance to play, which is true, because you're not a named player until you do something to make a name. And if you don't get a chance to make that name, then of course you don't get the name. And a guy like Marshawn Nealon, a guy like Golston that have been, kind of buried underneath the roster, they've got fresh legs and they're getting an opportunity. And if Mozzie Smith can be a disruptor in the middle, like he's been, and Overshown can continue to be like lightning, I think you might have a chance to slow down the Steelers' offense. Now, our defense, I think, could actually come through and be okay. And with our offense, I still believe in Dak. I believe that Dak Prescott will always give you a chance to win, no matter who you're playing. You can laugh now if you want to. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But that's what I believe. And anyway, leave a comment on whether or not you want me to start showing up in a suit and tie doing the Joe Boo Sports Report. I'm Mark Holmes, and I'll see you soon. Peace.